Hi, all. Good evening. It is live Friday night from Melbourne, Florida. I wasn't sure whether I was watch live now. Yes, okay. Woohoo! All right, I'm going to sit down. And it's been just an incredible day with all sorts of. Oh, whoops. I need to mute myself over here. Let's see. I'm sorry, guys. Oh, woo. How's that? You can hear me? Great. All right. I have to just mention once that it is 9/11, and Barb Owens mentioned it briefly, and I was a little reluctant about doing this today. Hi, Laura, and you are my mod. Thank you so much. So I made a stamp or a plate last week using a new method, which I will share with you at another time. And hi, Colleen. Loved you guys today. You were awesome. And this is it. And I used it as my opening picture. And it's something called a calligraph. And again, it's a new method to me. It's been around since the 1930s. And this is the new Freedom Tower with the sun coming up. And so I just want to say, God bless all of those who have survived and that are, moving on with their lives. And for me, and I guess for many of you, you have those moments where you know exactly where you were. And for me, prior to this, I knew exactly where I was the day that President Kennedy was assassinated. And this is kind of that moment for many of us. Anyway, I just want to say that, this is something that I just needed to speak to. And at 8:28 a.m. on the morning of 9/11, and it's 8:29 p.m. on September 11th, but at 8:28 a.m. on September 11th, I, with horror, watched on TV the second plane crash into the World Trade Center. So, okay, I don't want to, it is who we are, and it has a lot to say a lot about who we are. So today I wanted to share with you handmade stamps. And I'm not a carver like Mary. I mean, the stamps that Mary carves out of erasers are, beyond, oh, you watch with your students. Well, it was during a prep period for me, so I had no students, thank God, for small favors. So I make like one-off stamps out of foam, this foam stuff. And if it's an occasion that I need a stamp, then I just literally make one. Recently, I brought out some of the stamps that I have made on those occasions. And of course, you always think you're organized, right? It was Mary's birthday, and I didn't have a birthday cake stamp, and I wanted to make Mary a little birthday card. So I took out my handy dandy foam, and I fashioned a little birthday cake for my little stamp for Mary. And I also made a bunch of birthday balloons. So I stamped these on the envelope, and I stamped them on the little card that I made for her. And it was real simple. I just cut it out of this foam. Yes. And I made them just for you. And it's kind of like I'll probably use them again because I have other people that I know that are going to have birthdays, but I didn't have anything for that occasion. So I just made it. And I used individual inks and I painted them. I used distress ink, but I used a paintbrush and painted them so I had the different colors. And so this is what I'm talking about. You find yourself in a situation where you want to make something, you want a stamp, and you don't have one, and so it's not that hard to make one. So that's what I'm going to try. I'm going to show you some examples of stamps that I have made, and they are very rustic, I guess is a nice way of putting it, or organic, or whatever you want to say. They are what they are, but I think they convey a message, and a message of, someone that you care about, because you want to spend a little extra time to make these little stamps. Made with love. Yes, Judy, absolutely. And thank you, everybody. The chat is, as we all know, is just flying by. And again, thank you so much for being here. All right. A while back in one of Rosemary Morris's caboodle kits, some of us got pickle bags for dill pickles, and I didn't get one. So I made a dill pickle stamp. And I included that in some other stuff that I had done, and I made a paperclip thing out of it. So this was the my dill pickle stamp, because I didn't get a dill pickle bag, so I made a stamp. I needed a bicycle, and I don't remember what I needed the bicycle for. And so I literally drew this bicycle onto the foam, and I use this pen. This is the same pen I've been using, and it's kind of somewhat out of ink, but it kind of works. And again, the result is not very refined, but it obviously, if you're looking at this, that's a bicycle, I'm assuming, right? Then I'll stamp this off in a couple of minutes so you can see, what it looks like. Another technique that I just learned from Rosemary is she had these inexpensive stencils that I had gotten at Walmart, and they were like, you will send me. All right. Yes, Colleen. All righty. I will. She had used these stencils from, I got them from Walmart, and they were like, they're cardboard stencils. And one was a zebra. Now, this was a pain in the donkey's rear end, but I cut out the stencil and glued all of the pieces, but it really makes a really decent, it's a zebra when I stamp it off. So it was very effective. This was a silhouette. Now, a lot of these I copy, I trace, and I'll show you what I mean. I trace them right onto the foam because I'm not really, I'm not that, I can draw a little bit, but anybody can trace. And so this is another one that I made by just tracing this silhouette of this woman. And a lot of times I'll see a graphic in the, I see a graphic in the mail or in a magazine that I like, and a lot of times I'll just trace it onto the foam and fashion a stamp. This one I will stamp out for you, and you can't really see it, so I'm going to stamp this out for you. And the story behind this, I don't even know whether you can even make out what it is, but it's it's one of the, this is a glue journal that I've been working in, and there are actually some white pages in here. And I'm going to stamp this out, and as I stamp it out, I'll tell you this kind of weird story behind this one. And you're not going to be able to really see. Oh, okay. Progressive dinners. Well, this is a progressive hop, but there's nothing to eat here. But I remember those, right? I hope well, maybe this not. I just refilled this thing, so maybe this is not going to be. I really hope this prints out. And I just re-inked this thing, but if it doesn't work, this is an example of one-offs, because this is only the second time I've ever stamped this. So keep your fingers crossed. So my son, my oldest son, decided he's going to start skateboarding to work, right? And he's 42, maybe he was 41 when he decided he was going to skateboard to work. Can you see a skateboarder there? I don't know. I didn't. Maybe if you have a real good imagination, you can kind of see a skateboarder there. Anybody? Yeah, maybe, kind of. I didn't have enough ink. But you see it, okay. Yeah, I know, it's not, okay. So I made this stamp out of a guy skateboarding with his little computer messenger bag. And I made this into a card, and I sent it to him. Now, his wife was very upset about him skateboarding, because eventually he had a fairly serious skateboard accident where he broke his cheekbone. And so Alex asked me, would you please ask him not to skateboard anymore? And, he's never listened to me, so why would he listen to me now? So anyway, I made a card. And this ended up being like a get well card. And I said something about, you might be a little bit too old for skateboarding. I mean, I think he crashed when he was like, I don't know, maybe, 42-ish. Anyway, so this is only the second time I've ever used this stamp. And you can see, I don't know if you can see, maybe not, how crude the carving is. But it's, again, just carving it into the foam with a ballpoint pen, and then just gluing it on the back of a piece of cardboard. And I always make a little Scotch tape handle so I don't get my hands, too inky. So that's some of the stamps that I have made. So I just thought I'd make, it's Halloween, right? So why not make a Halloweeny stamp? And so I'm going to take out my foam board and and I'm going to draw a pumpkin. I mean, how different, and this is how easy this can be. He had to have some surgery, but it could have been a lot worse. My younger brother, who I referred to as the Island Mon, because he lives on the island of St. Thomas, he had a really serious skateboard accident where he ruptured his spleen, and he was a real mess. So my son Dave was very fortunate. Now, it's kind of a pumpkin, right? Ish. And we can put a couple of eyes here and here and here. And let's make another one. It's been a long day, you guys. We've all been supporting and watching one another. And I know Linda McAllister probably has crashed, and I don't blame her. But her stream was awesome. She did a fantastic job, and she doesn't believe she did, but I know we all know that she did. And we know how hard it is to do this. And, she stepped up to the plate and got the job done. So congratulations to Linda. And I know it's very, well, this is kind of we'll call it a drunk pumpkin. I don't know if there's such a thing. It doesn't really matter if there's any ink because it's the indentation. All right. I'm going to cut this out real quick. Okay. This is easy peasy. Okay, there's the cardboard. Yeah. Well, I told this story the other day when I did an impromptu live stream about, the things that we did when we were trick-or-treating. And one story I related to was the neighbors that live behind us. Helen showed up at the door of my house in Wantor, Long Island. And it was about 10 o'clock at night. And, everyone was done with, fed up with trick-or-treaters and such. And back in those days, there wasn't any set time for trick-or-treating. It was an absolute free-for-all. And so the doorbell rang and my mother got up. My father never answered the door. That was beneath him. Oh, that was just not a man's job. And he was probably, had his second martini and now was on his Jack Daniels and club soda cocktail. So my mother got up and answered the door, and there was a kid with a sheet over their head, right, dressed up like a ghost with the trick-or-treat bag, and said, trick or treat. And my mom reached into what was left of the candy and put it in the trick-or-treater's bag. So now I have these, wee little pumpkins, right? I'm going to get my handy dandy cardboard. I save cardboard from all my packaging. So my mom closed the door, and I think at that point she may have even turned out the porch light to kind of say, hey, we're done, because that was usually an indication when the porch light went out. Everybody knew that, trick-or-treating was over. And the person at the door waited just long enough for the mom to sit back down again, like she knew, right? And the doorbell rang again. And my mother got up, and this is out on Long Island, New York. Miss Mary Berry, you're the one, you worked in New York City, right? Yeah. So my mom gets up, opens the door, and there is this ghost again. And in this very kind of, you don't have to give me have I gone over, Mary? I just got a message from Mary. So, and the ghost said to my mom in a very childish, meek voice, "It's not enough." And okay. And my mother, oh my God, my mother almost lost it. And because this trick-or-treater said, "It's not enough." And then the neighbor, Helen, ripped off the ghost thing. And we all, oh my gosh, we were laughing our you know what's off. But to me, that was one of the funniest Halloweeny things that has ever happened. When she just said very meekly, "It's not enough." Can you imagine doing that as a Halloween kid? Can you imagine actually having the guts to ring the doorbell again and say it's not enough? Um, I'm looking for some. You think you're organized, and as we all know, we're not. Oh, here it is. Look at that. The other thing you can do is you can make these little stamps, and you can make them into like stationery. And I'll show you some stationery that I've made out of some inexpensive, paper, and recycled some composition paper. So here are our pumpkins. And I have some spiced marmalade. Spiced marmalade, like a drunk pumpkin. It kind of works, right? Let's see. Let's keep our fingers crossed because, this is, you never know. You never know. I mean, this is a rodeo paper, which is pretty good. Wow, quarters. Holy moly. When I was a kid, we trick-or-treated for UNICEF. Well, it's not awful. You can see that it's pumpkins, but you get the idea, right? Kind of get the gist of this whole thing that you can do. You're on it. Are you okay? I'm looking at you. I have 8:48 p.m. Am I going over my time? Because I don't want to. I'm glad I'm bringing back good memories. Yeah, we had lots of fun. Yeah, and we used to. So this is some stationery that I made out of other stamps, and just to give you an idea. Okay, this is a fish stamp that I made a long time ago. That I actually made one for cage fish. You can't really see it, but I just took. Just take some paper. This is composition paper. And I just cut it down and made it into made an envelope using I have that envelope maker from We Are Memories. So, and then put a little stamp here. Now, you wouldn't want to be able to mail that. I mean, even though, if anybody remember the old airmail envelopes that you would buy to send airmail, they were like tissue paper. So this is a little bit heavier than that. The other thing you can do is you can make really neat borders. And this is a border stamp that I had made. And again, this is, again, circles and lines, foam, cut out and glued onto a piece of cardboard. And I kind of decorated this there. And so that's another quick one. A little maple leaf. This was from a punch that I had that I traced and then stamped out. Again, these were all handmade and glued, using foam stamps and glued on cardboard. And I have bits and pieces of them anyway. So you kind of understand where. So my point is, it's really, really easy to just make a little stamp in a pinch if you don't have something. Again, a lot of these were one-offs. I didn't have a birthday cake for Mary, so I made one. And these are pumpkins that I had made early, the same process. And then again, just stamp them on the top of this, paper. So this is, what the possibilities are absolutely endless. And you can make, if you can't draw, then you can copy and trace and make stamps from there. Let me just, I can print out my bicycle so you can see what that kind of looks like when it's printed out. Because now I have bicycle stamps. But I still like this one personally, and I use a little roller here to kind of smush this down. I've made little blocks of cities, and all we're looking at is squares and rectangles and triangles. So there it is. Not too shabby. And again, I just drew this onto a piece of fun foam and then cut it out. Your dad gave out full-size candy bars. Oh, wow. Oh, he had a long driveway. There was one family in my neighborhood in Wantor that did that. And they would come to the door and they had this gigantic, like, wooden salad bowl. And in there were full-size, 1955 full-size candy bars. And it was like the number one spot. And that's long before they had the mini, whatever they want to call those. Where did I get this roller? This is just a regular brayer. Regular people use that for stamps. I've just used mine to smush down stamps, and I don't use it for printing anymore. I've used it for stamps and stuff. So, are we ready, or am I gone over? Are we good? Jelly apples. Yeah, I don't know whether a lot of that stuff back in those days. There was a lot of handmade stuff, and nowadays, obviously, you had such a bunch of a-holes that started to put, razor blades in apples and all of those horrible things. So, in Merrick or off Merrick Avenue, I'm reading Bootsy right here. They moved in 1949. Oh my gosh, that's the year I was born. And we moved to Wantor when I was 3. Oh my gosh, what a small world. Oh my God. Well, thank you guys. And again, thank you everybody that's come and everyone that's supported all of us. And my channel is really small, so if you're willing, if you haven't subscribed, I certainly would appreciate that. And yeah, it's amazing what you can do with kid foam. You can buy it Dollar Tree, whatever. The possibilities are endless. So thank you again. And I think we're off to, I have 11 minutes left. Why is everybody saying goodbye? You want to get rid of me? What? What's going on? Goodbye. Okay. I have more time? Okay. Well, I have other stuff. I just figured, I thought I was good until 9:05. You said bye. I said bye. I'm reading the, show the, what we have here is a lack of communication. One of the best lines in Cool Hand Luke, right? what we have here is a lack of communication. Hey, I got stuff. You know, when you're doing this, you're not really paying attention. 9:05. Thank you, Miss Allie K. That's what I thought. And I thought, well, maybe I, got that wrong, which is something that's not unheard of. All right. Zebra. I made a zebra tag for the black and white tag swap. Orchestrated and organized by Kathy Berg. I mailed mine out, and I think she may have gotten them today, if not tomorrow. Again, I was really nervous, but I did the best I could. And I only was supposed to make 10, 12, one for Colleen and one for Kathy. I ended up making 20. So there's definitely some that are better than others, but I would have to say it's a rather eclectic group of stamps. All right, so here's the zebra one that's from a stencil from Walmart. It's one of those cardboard, punch out stencils. And when I did this for the black and white journal, I put gold paint on it and stamped it on a black card. So let's see. Not bad. Looks like a zebra. Walks like a zebra. Quacks like a zebra. And it's a zebra. So again, cheap stamp stencil. This is my one of the borders that I made. And as you can see, it's just, I punched out some circles, cut out some straight lines, and then glued it on a piece of cardboard, right? Now, you can make borders in any design you want. The other great thing is if you have stencils, again, you can cut out or trace around stencils and use those. I have those architectural stencils that just have, triangles and circles and various different sizes of circles from large to small. And you can do those and you can make a really neat stamp on that. So that didn't stamp that well, but you get the gist. You get a nice pattern. You can put it on the side. You can make your own borders. I made this earlier. This is a row of houses, and I had made these earlier, so I kind of traced these. And then I made a stamp out of them. And when you have all these different colors, you can just it's kind of neat because you can, if you have these small stamp pads, you can put the different color stamps on this here like that. And let's do a pink house. And this gives you some, with the smaller stamp pads, you can really be meticulous. And I'll put some blue in there, right? Right. And how about a yellow? And then I got to do the roofs. So how about some fired brick for all the roofs? But you guys can see, really, how easy this all is. And you can just, let's see, you can just be creative and small world. Wow. Now, again, it doesn't get any more rustic or organic or whatever the cool word is to use for things that are folksy or whatever. But anyway, there you go. And then you can come in with colored pencils or inks and, define it even more. And I know I have 2 minutes left. So, whoops, let me go this real quick. This is from an another thing is embossing folders. You can embossing folders, right? And put the stamp foam stuff through the embossing. And you ready? Voila, a tree. So embossing folders, you can use anything that'll make an impression on the foam stamp. Die cuts, you can cut die cuts, and you can make, I don't have time right now, but these are geared from die cuts, glued onto cardboard, and you've got gears. So again, die cuts, embossing folders, just your freehand drawing, and you're all good to go. Whew. Okay, now it's 9:03, and I feel that it's been a great evening, and thank you so much. Yeah, it does look like that's exactly what it looks like, Aunt Beck. It does look like the ball dropping on New Year's Eve. That's a good observation. Yeah, and here's another bigger one of those. Okay. And again, thank you so much. And remember how fortunate we are, and keep all of those in California and Oregon and all of our dear crafters out there, Dawn and all of the others, keep them in our prayers, because, man, it's an inferno. Love you all. Thank you again. Be safe and be kind. Good night.